You know, it's kind of wild when you think about it. So, your loved ones that are in survival mode means like full illusion, hanging by a thread, just barely surviving. That's the energy. And so people like that could never be there for you, for their children, their loved one. That, like I said, they're hanging by a thread. They're in full illusion. And we could understand easily how people get there, even just trying to pay rent these days for many people feels impossible, feels like they're hanging by a thread. We go into these places that are trying to protect us where we'll just see people getting up for work every day, going and just going on this hamster wheel, which is, it's a cop out. It allows people to not have to look at themselves, look at their choices that they're making that are harming them, harming their families. It is very selfish, but we can understand and empathize why people do it. It's a place where people feel that they can protect themselves. So when we get very honest about the fact that people in survival mode can't really be there for anyone, especially themselves, it's kind of messed up to even try to open up to a friend of yours that lives in survival mode. Like when you think about it, it's kind of like you're seeing your neighbor carrying in way too many groceries and you go and like throw a ball for them to catch. It's so messed up. They cannot handle one more thing. And you'll notice that when you go to try to be witnessed by someone who's in survival mode, and most humans are just looking to be witnessed, but you'll notice that, and we've all done it, but definitely people in survival mode are doing this every time. They're just trying to get out of the situation by throwing a solution at you. It's huge rejection, really. They're doing this to their kids. It's fucked up, but people don't realize they're just so uncomfortable. Like, this is all I ever grew up with. So uncomfortable and just being, so you'll be like, man, I'm feeling really lonely. Like, you're just letting someone know, which is so brave of you. Please keep sharing that. But you're just going to want to find people who are not in survival mode. They can be there for you. And someone in survival mode would be like, well, don't you have like a concert coming up Saturday? They're just trying to make this not real. They're not trying to help you find a solution even. They just cannot handle this. And we've all done it. I've seen myself do it and then be like, oh shit, I just threw them in the trash for my own comfort. But most people don't even know that they're doing it. So the best thing that I have done in the past few years for me is that anytime I'm very down and out, I'm going through things, I really rely on myself to get through it. And I seek my big sister, my higher self within, because I used to only be associated with people in survival mode because that's where I was always living for decades. So that's the only people I ever aligned with. So I would go to seek help from someone in survival mode. Then they would just throw a solution and I would feel such deep rejection. So now I know that if I'm feeling down, if I want to feel way worse, I'm going to try to open up to someone in survival mode. You could not pay me. But what I do is that my loved ones who are in survival mode, I share about these things way after. I'm like, yeah, last week I was struggling, but like my friend Mitchell is not in survival mode. So that's someone I could talk to in real time, cry, but I just wouldn't do that anymore with my loved ones. And when you think about it, that's a blessing for them because they can't hold space for another human being. They can't hold space for themselves. When you see a person jump to give you a solution, you can realize that person, when they have pain come up, they immediately distract themselves. They aren't ever there for their own self. So they could never be there for you. They could never be there for their parents, their children. This is what survival mode is. So now I feel like I saved myself from so much more confusion and pain. Just having this piece of information, I let myself off the hook, my friends and my loved ones off the hook that are in survival mode. I don't bring them anything heavy. I can talk about it when it's not heavy anymore. And if that's something that is like really harming you in your life, if you haven't noticed this pattern, if you're like, man, I keep trying to open up to my grandmother that lives with us, and if she's living in survival mode, she's going to be rejecting you. You're just going to feel worse. And this isn't to say like just to jump to this conclusion. You could give someone the opportunity, but I'm saying when you recognize the pattern, like this person needs to shut me down all the time, it's because they're in survival mode. Just let it be, and don't let that make you feel that you're not worth having space held for you. That's the one thing that we've got to stop doing when we are in these situations. Like, man, I guess I wasn't good enough to be cared about. No, that is a person that was just that was just so triggered. From a physical standpoint, it looked like they just didn't have the time, but inside they were tweaking. Like, they cannot handle that kind of energy. It brings way too much up that they don't have the willingness to look at. So if you are noticing, especially around the holidays, big things are coming up for you, think of someone like your neighbor, someone that is not in survival mode and really can hold space, and they have the time and the energy to do that. And, you can ask them too. But yeah, I wish that like 15-year-old me knew this so much. I would have stopped wasting so much time trying to get support from people that would never be able to do that. And I would hate to see you trying to do the same thing. And also, if you are in survival mode, I don't suggest that you just try to jump out of it. It's not possible. It's dipping a toe, and it takes time. It did for me, and I know it's not possible to just cannonball into reality. It takes working with our nervous systems, community, and if you are struggling with that and you would like to work on that, I would love to help you not, destroy your nervous system by cannonballing out of it. No, that's not how we do things here. But there absolutely are ways that we can be little by little and getting more intentional each week, even doing one thing each week. That's 4 things in a month, and then suddenly it's 8 things over the last 2 months. Even just you taking time away from your family to go paint or take a walk, do something for yourself. We can support each other in very small steps. And then before you know it, a year goes by and you have a whole leg outside of survival mode. When we talk about these things, it's not to shame people. I spent decades in survival mode, and I'm so grateful that I listened to the people and was inspired by those around me and decided, hell no, enough is enough. And you deserve to have these tools too. So if you'd like to work on that, give me a shout out, and I'm just sending you guys so much love. Good night.